Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our current session is on teaching, speaking and listening in Pakistan. I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to understand the status of teaching of speaking and listening of English in Pakistani context. Well, at the outset, I think it is important for us to understand the importance of or the significance of speaking and listening. We also need to consider what is the order of learning of different language skills, which skills come first and which is followed, and what are the biological factors that are involved. Well, the four main language skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, they occur in the same sequence as I have sequenced them. First, as a human child in the world, when we are exposed to this world, we start with listening. And I think this is the way of the nature, where nature prepares us to listen to first. And through listening, we learn. And that learning helps us translate it into the speaking skill. And it is only after speaking that in the everyday life, in everyday world, when it comes to L1, the students or the learners, they start reading, which is followed by writing. Though there, of course, when it comes to formal education, there is some kind of overlapping in the skills. The students would be reading and writing simultaneously, or listening and writing simultaneously, or sometimes even reading, listening, and writing, or sometimes using all the four skills simultaneously. But as far as the natural order and as far as the biological factors are concerned, a human baby starts with listening and then going through different stages of cooing and babbling and then uttering single words and then phrases and then sentences. Gradually he or she learns how to speak. Now, if that is the biological order of using or of learning a language, I would say L1, when it comes to L2 or when it comes to a foreign language, listening and speaking in a foreign language then should have the same kind of some model that would follow the same pattern. But listening and speaking of a foreign language has its own issues when it comes to, to perform it in the classroom. Teaching of both speaking and listening a foreign language has always been problematic, and it is even more problematic in the case like Pakistan. Issues in listening a second language have their own dimensions. For example, when it comes to falling on the ear, when it comes to the listening of the sounds of a foreign language, because the exposure is very limited, because it is only in the classroom, because it is for a very limited time, of course, this sounds to be alien. When it comes to speaking, it becomes even more problematic. It has its own issues. Which accent has to be followed, which pronunciation has to be followed, how much input do the students have in the form of listening of that language in which they are expected to speak. So, these are the major issues that are faced everywhere when it comes to a foreign language learning. And when it comes to Pakistan and the learning of speaking and listening of English in Pakistan, these issues become further complicated because we are a society that is multilingual. The role of social context is very important in that regard. A child who is born in an average Pakistani family would not be monolingual, would learn more than one languages, would often learn one L1 or mother tongue as the local language or a provincial language, would also learn Urdu as a national language, and then when would be exposed to education, formal education in the school, would also learn English. This is what I'm talking about, the masses, the common people. So, 2 to 3 or sometimes 4 languages are simultaneously learned, and the child is, or the learner is exposed to them. So this social context, it makes the learning of speaking and the teaching of speaking and listening in Pakistan further complicated. The influence of first language on speaking and listening skills also cannot be denied. We need to look at the speaking and listening of English in Pakistan from different perspectives. We need to look at the practices, we need to look at the needs, then we need to look at the issues, and we need to look at the concerns. When it comes to the practices, I hope you would agree that in an average Pakistani English language teaching classroom, A, the skills are not given importance. B, if ever they are given importance, it is only the writing skill that is given importance. The second number in terms of importance is of reading. And the students are evaluated and they are examined only through the writing skill. Even reading skill is not tested. As far as speaking and listening are concerned, they are neither taught nor they are evaluated. When it comes to the needs, well, since English is a lingua franca, since English is used everywhere, this is a world, a global world where English has become a global phenomenon, I would say. In that context, we need to reconsider the needs of our students. We need to reconsider their communicative needs, needs with reference to the functional aspects of language. What are the roles that they are expected to perform in the society and elsewhere? What are the needs that they have when it comes to the functionality of language? As far as the issues are concerned, I have already highlighted many of them, but the list of these issues is very long. There are issues of classroom resources, large number of classes, untrained teachers, unmotivated teachers, disinterested students, lack of clarity of methodology, inappropriate or inadequate curriculum, problems in the designing of the textbooks, non-availability of teachers' handbooks, how to teach or how to translate those textbooks into the classroom practices, etc. I would say just to count a few of these problems or issues, but there are many, many more beyond that. So the linguists and the researchers and the educationists have their concern in this regard. And their concerns are about the schooling system of Pakistan and the medium of instruction of Pakistan, where the public versus the private sector schooling continues, and there is a huge gap between the two types of education that is provided, or the two streams of education that are available. At the end of the day, whichsoever stream of education it is, in the public sector or the Urdu medium stream, writing-oriented examination system is one of the huge problems, where the teachers think it is their responsibility and the only responsibility to prepare the students for these examinations. And the students just want to improve themselves on the those aspects of writing skill where they can just write whatsoever they have memorized so that they could get through the examination. As far as the private school systems and the English medium school systems are concerned, yes, over the recent couple of decades, there has been a lot of change, and skill-oriented teaching is taking place. But the major issue with reference to that is that when it comes to teaching of speaking and listening of English language in Pakistan, how much of the total population these schools cater for. So the majority of the learners still have to face problems.